Hey, Crawl Spacers, welcome to Spider History with JR. What's going on, JR?
Oh, I tell you, it's been a interesting 3 months here as we've done Spider History. When we did the first one
Yeah.
in January, it was cold and snowy, and then in February,
Yep.
it was still cold and snowy, but and now it's March, and it's grass is starting to turn green
Yeah.
and everything, and it's been a heck of a 3 months, and it's been a heck of a 3 months for
Still cold
Spider
here,
History.
JR.
Huh?
It's still
I'm
cold.
I'm not fooling anybody. I'm not fooling anybody.
No, you're not. We
No.
record three at once. That's what we do, audio
Um,
listeners, three at once. We're going back to 1992. There is another book called Fear Itself, but there's another Secret Wars, there's another Inferno, etc. But this was the first Fear Itself that we're talking about. Tell me about this, JR. Why would you pick this one?
Why did I pick this one? Well,
Yeah.
because I listen to the fans, unlike Lucasfilm and Disney and the MC Marvel Cinematic Universe of today. I listen to the fans. It was a request. I thought they were talking about the other Fear Itself.
You didn't buy this in 92, huh?
I did not.
I did.
And it was one of those that I'm not even sure I saw it, to be honest.
Beautiful looking Joe Jusko cover, who did the Marvel Masterpieces cards.
Yeah.
92 also.
And of course like I said, I thought it was the Fear Itself that happened. It was after Civil War or something. Yeah, there was a Fear Itself. So I thought that's what and they say, no, this is the one with Silver Sable. It's like, and then I just happened to be at my favorite comic book store, and was looking through the back used graphic novels, and voila,
Boom.
And of course, even months later, I still can't get this to flatten out because somebody put it in the box.
Oh, they put it like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I bet you were surprised when you turned to this page and see who's writing it.
Yeah, I was.
Gerry Conway, Stan Lee.
Yeah, and then
Ross Andru, pencils.
I know. And then when I mentioned to Brad, because Brad says, "Hey, JR, well, you want to do 3 for Spider History, and you want to do it this week?" And I usually come up with an excuse that I don't want to do it that week, and then I come, "Oh, let's do it some other time," And then some other time comes, and I have no choice; I've got to do it. But then it's like I agree to do it, and then I get another text that says, "JR, what are you going to do? I need images. It takes me a long time to do these images. I need images. I need you to tell me." So it's like,
You're JR, write me back.
But I told him I was going to Fear Itself.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh yeah, that was Ross Andru's last."
It was.
And so I said, "Well, good, great. I mean, we're both big fans of Ross Andru." And really, originally, what I did want to do was I wanted to match this off with another 1 or 2 of the graphic novels like Hooky or Spirits of the Earth, but I didn't have the time. This
is a 60-page comic, so it's going to take a little bit to get through it.
Yeah, I don't know though. It's just not. Okay. It's not a classic by any means, and it'll be a little rough, boys and girls, because I have read it, but I didn't take any notes. So the jokes aren't going to be planned and classic.
Do we plan jokes around here?
They're going to be bad and off the cuff like all of Brad's.
Yeah, exactly. So they'll be good.
Yeah. But I was surprised to see that Gerry Conway had done this or was a plotter, and that he had scripted it with Stan Lee. I
think that's cool.
So anyway, but 92, 32 years ago.
Gosh.
And it's
and this one, what's the cover price on it? Because Marvel had graphic novels, and you had to pay, I think it was like $4 back in
it was $12.95.
No, really? This was a $12.95 books in 92?
$12.95, and if Josh had been around at that time, he would have had to pay $15 for it in Canuck Land.
Up in Canada. Huh? This was a $12 book in 1992. That'll put it in perspective, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably if I did see it, that's probably why I didn't buy it. But I won't. I probably, if I thumb through it, I've never been a big fan of Silver Sable. None of the classic villains are in it. It probably wouldn't have appealed to. I was probably thinking at the time, I ain't spending $13 on this. So, but I was willing to spend the $5 or whatever when I found it in the bargain bin. But anyway, are we ready to start the story?
Real quick, welcome to Improv Night with JR, says Hornets. Sarah has my quote book, or her quote book about me in there. Brad's Expectations are high. I have the doc of quotes ready to add to it. Let's see. Oh, the Spirits of the Earth. That was a hardcover. I think that was a $20 one.
Yeah, it was
That
hardcover, and that was Charles Vest the writer or the artist or both?
Don't think he was the writer, but I could be corrected. But he did the classic Web of Spider-Man #1 cover, and then went and did that Spirits of the Earth. So, I don't think JR physically owns this one. You were wrong, Gary and the Frozen. It's in his hands. I own it too. It's on that shelf.
I'll give you this, Gary. I'll meet you halfway. I didn't own a physical copy of it when it was first suggested to me. So
Hornacek says, I never thought this would be the focus of a Spider history episode. Well, you were wrong.
It would never have occurred to me either, but that's why
you asked for it.
But that's why I ask people for suggestions. I mean, sometimes I'll wind up reading a story that I've not read before. So
that's a good point. By Gary and the Frozen. Doc look at that Green Goblin in the tree. You got a lizard and a Doc Doom, and you got Norman.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it's obvious that it's a hallucinatory thing that'll play into
cool though
the story later. So
yeah. Okay, opening up with good Lord, Hitler.
Honest to God. So I'm sitting here on the couch. Oh, I haven't read this before. When I open up, and it's Hitler, and it's like, gee, I mean, I have to tread carefully here, but it's like Adolf Hitler is the supervillain who keeps on giving. I mean, it's one of those things. I know he was one of the most evil men to have existed, but honest to God, we're still telling. He's still in stories, and it's like, and this was, 30 years. And folks, he died in 1945, which is actually where this first scene takes place.
Yeah.
Next year, that's going to be 80 years. Since the end of World War II. In fact, everybody mark June 6, 1944 on your calendars, because that's going to be the 80th anniversary of D-Day, and that was, somebody. Guys my age, you guys out there, we're lucky. We were very lucky to be born in the time that we were born in.
Absolutely.
Because those men and what they went through, some of them not coming back. There's a lot of famous people, actors and stuff. Jimmy Doohan, for example, who plays Scotty on Star Trek, he took like 6 shots, including one that blew off his finger, so they suffered quite a bit, even if they did make it back, most of them suffered quite a bit. So anyway, but Hitler is just this, like I said, the supervillain that keeps on giving. And in a way, though, he's the late, I tell you though, whenever I see Hitler, my first thing is, oh God, here's a lazy writer. Because it's easy to bring Hitler into a story because you don't have to explain anything. He's evil. Of course he's evil. He's doing it's Adolf Hitler, So it's, to me, he's like become a cliched and but since so many people still want to, seem to follow his theories, I guess he's still relevant. But anyway, but he's talking to Baron Zemo, who is not dancing, I noticed in this scene.
Wait a minute. No, this is his father, and this is Baron Zemo 1.
Yeah, but I don't think they made that distinction in the MCU, right? I mean,
right,
I think it's just Zemo. He's not even a Baron, is he? I mean, he's.
I don't know.
Who
in the heck is this chick?
Hang on, you'll find out. Actually, there we go. But you're in the head anyway. Basically Hitler's saying the war is lost. But the German people have failed me, and everybody's failed me. But you, my friend, have successfully served me, and I am going to reward you for your faithful service. Like your Führer Zemo, you will become a god. All right. So now we're in the modern day, which is 1992, and that probably explains why this chick is dressing like a post-apocalyptic warrior out of a Mad Max movie, or it's just the 90s. I forget.
Got swastika earrings.
Yeah. Well, we know she's no good, and Black Widow should sue her for appropriating her symbol as her glasses or something like that. Because doesn't it look like Black Widow?
You said Silver Sable, but yes, that does look like. Black Widow's classic back in the day.
I'm up past my bedtime because of because I feel I owe you people so much. This old man is staying past his bedtime and he's starting to ramble. All right.
You start rambling at 7.
If I wanted to be insulted, I'll just call up George, and let him
we've got him on the line. Here is George. No, just kidding.
And let him fire off a few insults. Yeah. You're just making shit up now. But anyway, then this invisible ninja comes out of nowhere. I mean, we know he's invisible because he's drawn fluorescent white or whatever, but he's an invisible ninja. All right. So anyway, this chick from Thunderdome or whatever. That's right. It looks like Tina Turner from Thunderdome. But anyway,
we don't need another Spider-Man.
So she's fighting the ninja, and then somebody who's watching says, "Enough." Oh, this takes place in Tokyo. Okay, Tokyo. Enough, Baroness. You wish to test the white ninja in battle, and so you have. So basically, she's looking to hire the white ninja services. This was a tryout, and so she's going to pay this astonishing sum of 2 million yen to get the white ninja to work for her for a month. Well, they're not doing. They think that nobody's watching, but somebody is watching.
It's Kane. It's Kane.
Kane is watching. Yes.
And
Kane is universal and Silver Sable. But Kane is the universal watcher. There's Watu, Silver Sable, but the universal watcher.
There you go. That's Kane. A good series. We're doing. It isn't Fear Itself. No, I don't know if what help me out, chat. What storyline did Nick Fury become a watcher? They could just replace Nick Fury with Kane, and he could be the watcher up on the moon.
Was that Unpardonable Sin or Final Sin?
I think it was Fear Itself, but I could be wrong. No, Original Sin. You're right. Original Sin.
Yeah, I figured it was something with the sin.
Jason Aaron, I think. But yeah, Kane could have been a watcher up there more than Nick Fury.
Yeah,
but anyway, we go to...
Now we're going to New York.
Boom.
City. And this is 1992, folks. So New York City is still a shithole in a lot of places. So I was in New York in 1992. I was working, just was out there for 4 weeks, and an old buddy of mine who lived in New Jersey came and met, and we went to Times Square, and it was as disgusting. I mean, every street corner, someone would come up. You want to buy drugs? You want to buy drugs? You want to buy drugs? And right now, though, they just try to sell you bad comedy. I'd rather have the drug dealers. But now it's all these guys coming up to you. And actually, I haven't been to New York in
real quick.
And I don't miss it either.
Sarah, put that in the quote book. I'd rather have drugs instead of bad comedy. What is that? Good Lord, JR.
Yeah, I've used this. I've used that line before. That's a funny
line.
But no, it was like because New York, because it got cleaned up. I mean, New York, it got cleaned up, and so now it's like these guys are you want to see you like comedy? You want to see comedy? And they're trying to get you to go to these comedy shows. But like I said, I'd rather deal with it. And and there were porn shops everywhere. When people say it, it's not an exaggeration. I mean,
all right, JR, Mary Jane's coming up out of the subway. Go.
Oh, are you telling me to get on with it instead of? I'm giving people Spider.
No, go. Mary Jane's coming out of that subway.
No, this is the last one. I can talk as long as I want. This is not only Spider history is American history. It is pop culture history.
Look what you people have done to this man. You've built his ego up so damn high he can't even get to the Mary Jane comes out of the subway. It's these goons.
All right. Anyway, the point I was making when I was telling my wonderful story was that it
was riveting.
I thought it was.
The crown guy's got nothing on JR, says Adam. Let JR be JR, says Hornets. Let the old man yell at the cloud.
Yeah. But so now the stories I hear in New York is going downhill again. But for a long time there, I mean, and kind of like the point I was making in the last night in the when we were talking about the current storylines. The New York that the writers are writing about is not the New York that exists and has not existed for several years. I mean, it's so, but in this time period, yeah, there were creeps hanging everywhere. So Mary Jane is coming out of the subway,
there it
and
is.
Well, she's being propositioned, but she doesn't have anything to worry about. She's kind of mouthy, you know, but that's because, you know, she says, boys, I've got all the friends I'll ever need. Well, and and her best bud friend shows up. And so, you know, Spider-Man, you know, throws these things around, but here is kind of this doesn't sit well with me. Mary Jane calls him off and basically says that he's overreacting. And then later, when they're going back to the apartment, she's telling him that he's gone past the limits. And it's like, he didn't do anything. He wasn't doing anything. He was just throwing these guys around like, you know, and she says he's gone over the line. He's gone too far. And it's like, no, last month when we talked about the Sin Eater, that's going too far. And then like in issue 155, where he saves a woman from a mugger and he's literally slapping the guy until he's, you know, he's beating him. He is beating him to death. But so anyway, I don't know if Mary Jane has been, you know, I don't know if she's been going to liberal school or, you know, or whatever, but you know, but one thing is, you know, she's, oh yeah, that's right. Well, Mary Jane is saying that, you know, we really need to talk about how you act as Spider-Man, but we never can because we're often around your aunt and we can't talk about Spider-Man around your aunt. You know, I think she can handle being Spider-Man. Oh no, she's got a heart condition. I've got to protect her. And, of course, J. Michael Straczynski turned that on its ear. It's like, why didn't you tell me, Peter? Do you think I was going to have a heart attack or something? So anyway, I'm glad we're past the going to have a heart attack every issue. But okay, so now we go to Osborne Chemical, very famous place. Osborne Chemical, and the White Ninja is there, and of course the White Ninja's up to no good, and he's stealing something. It has to be, you know, something super special. But Silver Sable and her Wild Pack are there.
Oh, I like Silver Sable.
I have never liked Silver. I don't get it. But you know, Sony was going to make a movie with her and the Black Cat called what? Silver and Black.
Silver and Black.
And Norman Osborn was not going to appear, but he was going to be the man behind the curtain or whatever. Yeah. But they thought that Madam Web had more.
JR, you gonna go next month?
Come on. No, I didn't go to Morbius, for example. I refused. I haven't.
Have you seen it since?
Haven't seen either of the Venom movies. I refuse to accommodate any of Sony's, trashed.
Well, I was going to invite you on the Madam Web review show, but by God.
No, I'm not going to watch it. I mean, it's like, and besides, nobody wants to hear me just continue to hate on everything, do they?
Oh, and then here comes the chat. Let me pop them up. They want to hear you talk about Madam Web. Anyway, we fight inside.
Anyway, so there's a fight, and the White Ninja, because he's an invisible ninja, invisible and white. Would he be an invisible ninja if he was had a different ethnicity?
Moving on, he smacks Sable in the back of the head.
He knocks several Sable out, and the cops, he gets away, and the cops call Harry Osborn because, as you know, boys and girls, Norman is dead, and Harry is running the company, and he's not as loony as he had been in the past, but so he finds out that the Cassidy crystals are missing. And
Cassidy
not Cletus though.
Okay.
Because that Cassidy is spelled with a K. Whereas if
you watched Spider History last night, they misspelled it in the recap book of Carnage #2 that just came out. Tyler brought that up. Where's the editor when you need it?
So anyway, now we're going to we're at JFK Airport, I guess, and did a secluded hangar, blah 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 blah. Oh, I guess they're on a plane bound for Germany, and
who's on the plane?
It's the White Ninja, and it's the post-apocalypse chick. That's the only thing. She's like I said. So he brings her the Cassidy crystals because obviously it's the MacGuffin of the story.
So.
So Peter goes to the Daily Bugle and he's trying to hustle for work. And he sees that J. Jonah Jameson is dressing down Ben Urich because, he doesn't have any stories about the robbery at the Osborne Chemical Company. But Jonah says, hey, you're Harry Osborne's friend. Why don't you get me a story or whatever, and I'll pay you a bonus. So, of course, Peter, goes over there with avarice on his mind. But then Harry says, oh, I'll tell you, Peter, but you can't tell anyone. As friends, right? We're friends, like, Pinky Swear, Thunder Buddies. You won't tell anybody, right? So
a what?
Thunder Buddies.
What's a Thunder Buddy?
Somebody want to tell Brad what who the Thunder Buddies are?
Was that like Thundercats?
No.
Okay. Anyway, Peter talking to Harry. Here we go.
All right. Well, we'll wait and see if anybody comes up with the Thunder Buddy. Anyway,
do I want to Google that? I don't even know.
Oh, come on! You didn't watch the. Well, it was in a movie, but I'll let somebody else bring it up.
Do not Google it, says Sarah.
All right. Well, here's the story. A guy by the name of Cassidy came up with these crystals, which is supposedly supposed to reverse the effects of schizophrenia. But, it's like anything else, like I said before, whenever we introduce some new
JR. I just Googled what Thunder Buddies was. Good, you dirty old man. Why are you referencing the movie Ted in the movie?
Because, come on, that was a funny movie. The first one was. I hear the second one was. But
anyway.
My wife bought Spencer was a youngin'.
I know.
And my wife saw the movie about the talking teddy bear and thought, "Oh, this is a cute movie." It's a talking teddy bear. Oh my Lord!
You were laughing your ass off with that one. I bet.
Oh my God! And then we watched it, and I've never let her forget it. Spencer and I, every time she tries to, bring up my, my less than perfect record as a father. Well, yeah, you bought Ted for Spencer. I thought it was a cute movie, a talking teddy bear. But anyway, so new technology, new biological developments or new chemical developments in a story. Nothing is going to go wrong here, right? Nope. Well, instead of healing schizophrenia, it induces fear. And the guy, Victor, took a toot of his own smoke, and he is now in a padded cell, just gibbering. So gibbering and drooling on his shirt. So anyway, Harry says, this is bad news. I wanted to destroy these things. And Peter said, well, why didn't you? Well, the government wanted me to hang on to them, and the government pays me a lot of money. So, because Oscorp said, well, this is Osborne Chemical, right? Not Oscorp yet. Because
when did it become Oscorp? Was that the movie?
The cartoon series? I'm pretty sure. No, in the cartoon, the 1990s Fox cartoon. Was it Fox? Yeah,
it was Fox. Yeah,
it was Fox. But anyway, that 5-year cartoon, which is kind of for most of you. I mean, I got bored with it after about the third year or whatever.
We are a bit old for that cartoon. We're old for that cartoon. You probably have love for the 67 cartoon. I have
the 67 cartoon, the first season of the 67 cartoon is not too bad, because the story is, a lot of them are lifted directly from the comic books. But it was very early in Spider-Man's run. So, the Green Goblin is not Norman Osborn. He's a magic practicing doofus. And then, but after the first season, the first season had, Jonah and Betty as supporting characters. but I forget. I think it was the second season when Ralph Bakshi took over, and then it just took a completely weird ass turn, and it started reusing all kinds of old footage. I mean, literally, you could sit there because it was available on DVDs several years ago. You start watching it, and it's like, hey, I've seen this episode before. Yeah. They would a
lot of footage.
There was one villain, for example, a villain. And then like in a later episode, it was the same guy, but they put a fin on the top of his head and he was a new villain. But anyway, but the thing is Silver Sable, who stole the crystals? Well, Silver Sable shows up on the video camera. So it had to be Silver Sable. Silver Sable. And since she has diplomatic immunity, there's nothing we can do. So, but of course, our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man can. So he, changes the Spider-Man and he goes to how do I say this?
Symkaria.
That's a stupid. That is just a stupid ass name. Symkaria. Stupid ass name. Anyway, so he goes to the Symkarian embassy, and of course, the guards don't take too well to him being an uninvited guest. And so he pretty well makes, and this is actually, I will say I like these two pages. Actually, I guess 3 pages, because this is Spider-Man at his best. I mean, he's so fast, nobody can get a beat on him. And then he stops and he does it. Hey, Ivan. Hey, Carl. You guys are so lame. And they're shooting, and it's driving Sable crazy because they're shooting at him. They can't hit him. They're hitting everything else in sight, and they're not coming anywhere
Spider-Man's
near
just
him.
Having fun.
And he's having a blast. He's not in danger at it for a second. He's not out of control of the situation for a second. I mean, again, this is Spider-Man. This is good Spider-Man.
Absolutely.
And I guess Gerry Conway. He's one of the, I was about to say he's one of the kingpins, no pun intended, of Spider-Man history.
With Stan Lee writing this thing.
Yeah, he succeeded Stan, and he, obviously he did set up a lot of classic stories and characters. So anyway, so Sable basically says, what do you want to do here besides wreck my furniture? And Spider-Man says, well, yeah, you didn't you steal the Cassidy crystals? Oh, no, I didn't, you dumbass. You know better than that. So she starts talking about Hitler, it's like, well, she goes, what do you know about Hitler? Well, yeah, he killed himself at the end of the war, lost World War II. Oh, no, that's not what happened. You see, they cloned Hitler's brain, which I think there actually is a movie that they stole Hitler's brain or something. But I mean, so they clone either they clone him or they clone his brain.
Hate monger in the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, and Armin Zola does not look like, what was the actor's name? Toby something or other. Yeah, a brilliant but insane scientist named Armin Zola took a scan of Hitler's brain and cell samples and cloned his body, and he was the first hate monger. And I don't know how many hate mongers we've had since, but he was the first. Adolf Hitler was literally the first hate monger. So, but all that happened 45 years ago, right? Well, Hitler wasn't the only one who had discovered the secret of immortality or who had used it. But he also gave that to Armin Zola. We all thought that Zola Zola was the guy who was responsible for Bucky's death. Well, for 50 years, I guess Bucky was dead. But Zola appeared to die, but Hitler promised basically that he would live again. He would become a god and he would live again. And basically, so Baron Zemo was given the key to eternal life or being resurrected or whatever. So Zemo's not dead. Zemo was dead. Zemo's not dead now. Okay.
Look at Spidey just listening to story time over here with Sable.
Yeah. You think Zola scanned Zemo's brain like he did Hitler's? So I don't know. So, but anyway, they're going to let's see where they're going. Oh, well, anyway, there's this. Sable tells Spidey about this character called the Baroness. All right, and the Baroness is behind. A lot. Let's see here. The Baroness offered her assistance. Oh yeah. Arms dealers. She's in Bavaria. Blah blah blah. So anyway, the Baroness is up to no good. She's probably a part of all this. So they got to track the Baroness down. So you think this Baroness is being? Oh, they think Zemo is financing the Baroness. Okay, so that means they gotta go to Bavaria and find the Baroness, find Zemo. So Peter says, "Well, I gotta do things before I meet you to go on this flight." So he goes, decides to have supper with Mary Jane and Aunt May, and for all of you,
yep.
Let's.
Yep. I wondered if you're going to talk about it. Yep.
The sweater.
Yeah, the sweater, man. That's a Ross Andru sweater, isn't it?
The sweater, the famous sweater that Peter was wearing, I believe, in issues 144 and 145, when he lay at the airport, he laid one on Mary Jane for the first time.
Yep, he busted that sweater out.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
So classic.
Ross Andru brought that back. That's so funny.
Well, and then they start getting frisky, and fortunately, Aunt May walks in before they get too heated. Which you can tell.
Hot in the kitchen, Aunt May. It's getting hot in the kitchen.
Which you can tell it's very, very, very early in their marriage, because after about 6 months, that goes away. Then you're just, then you're just kind of sitting there watching TV, waiting to die, more or less. So,
all right, look at this splash page though, JR. Look at this pretty thing. Ooh boy.
Ooh yeah. Well,
Ross Andru.
But first we got to go through Aunt May's double entendre.
Oh, no. Okay, hold on. I missed that. Hold on. What do we got? Peter, don't let the water boil over in the. Oh my!
Like I suppose we better serve breakfast before Mary Jane's muffins get cold.
Oh, I didn't mean. Oh dear, Mary Jane's muffins. Mary Jane for $12. We're getting a little risque here, JR.
And well, anyway, Lady Gaga must have been a Spider-Man fan. She must have read this and muffins, huh? So
I don't get that reference, but that's funny.
Oh, come on!
What are you talking about, muffin?
What is this?
Do I have to Google
help me?
you?
It's
You
in a
aren't
lady.
This hip. I am not this old.
It's in a Lady Gaga song. Okay.
Okay.
All right. About bluffing with my muffin.
What?
Please
don't.
God. One of you young people help us out and tell us what Lady Gaga song that is. But anyway. So.
All right.
Anyway, so they go to Bavaria.
Page. Look at how pretty that. One thing we've talked about this on the show. Ross Andru, when he was on Amazing Spider-Man, he would go around New York City, and he would try to make the book look exactly like you were in New York City. So he would copy the architecture. He would do sketches of what it looked like. His architecture work in Spider-Man was some of the best, if not the best, I think. Yeah. And he died, I think, a year later after this book came out.
Yeah, this is not his.
It's not.
It's not his best, obviously. But we talked about some of his best. The first Spider-Man versus Superman.
Oh yeah, he is the artist for Spider-Man versus Superman, and this is a year before he died when this came out.
Yeah, and I mean his New York was a very detailed New York. You didn't see like some of these in some of these stories today, when you look at the background characters and basically
if there is a background.
Yeah. So, it's so anyway, they go to the.
It's in Poker Face. You're bluffing with
Poker
my
Face. There we go. Poker Face.
With my muffin. Hornacek, you're on my list now.
Now see, in Hornacek, I referenced you, I think, last month, and you were all playing innocent. Oh, why are you bringing me up? Anytime I say something and ask the audience for help, usually it's you. So okay, So, but thank you, Poker Face. Okay.
Poker Face. We have Gaga. We have Thunder Buddies from Ted. We had Turner and Hooch last month. What quotes of pop culture will come next?
Stay tuned, boys and girls. You never know. But anyway, so Silver Sable and the Wild Pack and Spider-Man decide to storm the Baroness's castle. And we find out that the Baroness has Rottweilers, but they remove their vocal cords because she thinks their silence makes them more frightening.
Good God, that's animal cruelty. Well, she's a Nazi.
Well, she's the bad guy.
She's a Nazi. Of course, she removes the vocal cords.
Yeah, she wears Nazi earrings. She's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyway, so Sable, is able to, is able to go find a drain to sneak into the castle, but Spider-Man senses something, and it's the white
ninja,
invisible ninja.
Yep.
And Spider-Man, he doesn't quite do too well against the I mean, he's kind of holding his own, but when you're an invisible ninja, that's a pretty tough hurdle to jump. So, but then the ninja decides to squirt him with some of the Cassidy crystals, and Spider-Man starts hallucinating.
Oh, we tripping.
He goes
He's
on an
tripping.
Spider-Man goes on an acid trip.
Oh my gosh, the trees, they're alive.
Mary Jane is being torn apart by his greatest enemies, as if they were Wizard of Oz trees.
I thought that was Stegron.
I was thinking that was Stegron too. We should have had George. George, is that Stegron?
That is not Stegron.
Of course, I would say, what is Stegron doing with Spider-Man's greatest enemies? And of course George would take great.
Now wait a minute. Hold on. Because he was the artist of the Stegron story, if memory's correct. I think that is Stegron, because the lizard doesn't have these fins.
Well, yeah, and the lizard doesn't have quite the beak and the.
Yeah, that is Stegron.
Yeah, that's Stegron. So.
Right.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Ross Andru thinks he's.
Wait a minute.
There you go, George.
Whoa, look at this.
Oh, the mind worm.
He was also one of Ross Andru's bad guys.
Yeah, but that was a Gerry Conway creation too. So I guess that explains it. Why he's there.
We got Stegron. We got mind worm. Any other hidden thing? Who was the werewolf here?
I don't know if the wolf is anybody. It doesn't.
We got mind worm, and we got Stegron in the tree.
Isn't the vulture up there too? Let's see here.
Vulture's right there.
Yeah.
But he's Stegron and mind worm. What's up? That's a deep cut. Loving it.
Yeah.
Oh, is that man wolf in the right?
Well, that could be. Be.
Oh, I didn't think about
true, man. Wait, but was that Hornacek again?
Who said that? Yes, my God.
Yeah, you're probably right, man. Because he first showed up during Gerry Conway's run, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Issue 125 or something. So, anyway, so Spider-Man, he's tripping on LSD, and the Baroness is watching it all happen, and then they use the gas on the Wild Pack and disable them as well. Silver Sable sneaks in, but they capture Sable. The Baroness captures Sable, and of course Spidey's still tripping. He's seeing the floating heads of guilt.
Floating heads of guilt.
Floating and these floating heads talk, so they're really
Oh, there's Gwen.
Yeah, the last one, Gwen. But
when I needed you, Peter, where were you? Your weakness killed Mary Jane just like it killed me, Gwen.
And this, I don't know. Maybe it's a fact reading these things so many. But 2 months ago, when we talked about Spider-Man Reign, that's all throughout that story was it wasn't the float. They weren't floating heads, but all these ghosts were showing up, making him feel guilty. That's pretty much an old trope.
And then a symbiote ghost shows up.
Yeah, then like his other self in the black suit shows up.
Which is kind of cool to see a 1970s artist like Ross Andru draw the black suit. I thought that was cool back in the day.
Yeah. But anyway, so the White Ninja decides he's going to be clever, and he's going to speak for the black suited Spidey and be the black suited Spidey. Well, he pushes his luck, by insulting Spider-Man just a little bit too much, pushes his luck, Spidey snaps out of it, and hits him so hard that he shatters the invisibility effect. So, yeah. So this guy, the white ninja, is in trouble now. Well,
so Sable.
Yeah, we get back to Sable, who's now, captured by the Baroness. And the Baroness, like all good super villains, really, she has to talk about her evil plan.
Got a monologue.
Yeah. So she talks about her evil plan, how she's going to shoot missiles all over the world. Everybody's going to, cower in fear.
Everybody in the club going to get tipsy.
Yeah. But fortunately for mankind, I shall step in to save the day, and the masses, helpless and terror-stricken, will welcome me with open arms, and I will rule the world. And then Silver Sable, I gotta watch this. Silver Sable asks who you are. Haven't you guessed? When Zola offered me a new body, I demanded a certain one, the body of a woman.
So that's Hitler? No, that's Zola. No, that's not Hitler.
Zemo.
Zemo's a chick.
Zemo had made himself a chick. So does that make Baron Zemo the first trans super villain?
Keep going. We're not even getting into that. Jesus. God, this one has Stop it with Nazis and.
Oh my!
We're gonna blow up the internet if you aren't careful.
Lord.
You're on a ticking bomb, JR. Stop it.
Post-apocalyptic trans zombies. Oh my Lord! Trans Nazis. I'm sorry. Post-apocalyptic trans Nazis. Okay, Hornacek, write a story about that. All right.
Yes, even the chat is like warning you. Tread lightly, JR.
Oh, Hornacek is telling me to tread lightly.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
Lord have mercy.
But I mean,
this thing is trippy.
Like, how else? It just. He wanted to. What is it? Who would ever suspect that a lovely exotic female had once been Baron Zemo, the most diabolical Nazi of them? Well, you got me there. Never would have suspected. So they throw Sable in the dungeon. But Silver Sable, being Silver Sable, easily escapes. So back to Spidey and the White Ninja.
Spider-Man.
Back to Spidey and the White Ninja. Where we do a whole lot of fighting and ninja-ing and stuff like that. And of course, then it's like, hey, let's see. Yeah. Spider-Man says, I just watched Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And although we don't have a bridge here, we do have a tightrope over a very deep cavernous area. Why don't we just, reenact the scene?
Let's fight there.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, the White Ninja decides that he needs to give Spidey another squirt of fear juice, but Spider-Man's just creating too much ruckus. He's don't leap, you're shaking the cable. You made me inhale. It's like, I just find that funny. Don't jump, you're shaking the cable. Man, you're not playing fair. So the White Ninja winds up inhaling the fumes. He goes on an acid trip himself and falls off to his death. And of course, this is one of the ways.
What does he say on the way down?
A three-voweled onomatopoeia.
Onomatopoeia.
Three vowels. Anyway, but you can always tell that now. You can tell it's a Gerry Conway story because Gerry Conway is obviously very liberal. So he has Spider-Man saying, no matter how many times I've been exposed to violent death, it's always a terrible thing. Well, not here. It's not. Guy had it coming. Jeez.
Killed the Nazi ninja. There's his name. The Nazi ninja. There you go.
The white Nazi ninja. Well, I guess it makes sense if he's a Nazi that he would be white, right? He'd be the white supremacist ninja.
If this makes it past YouTube censors, my Lord, this is controversial. Right.
Well, anyway, so Spider-Man gets back to the castle, and Zola decides to strike a pose, I guess, as
this pose. Strike a pose. There's nothing.
I mean, it's like,
hey, go Zola.
Yeah, I'm okay. I don't know this. Yeah. This is not exactly how I figure Baron's. This would not inspire fear in me. it would be. I don't know. It looks like she's on the. It looks like she's on the runway. It's like what is that?
Project Runway.
Project Runway. Yeah, it looks like she's getting ready for Project Runway. Anyway, she's getting ready to set off the missiles. That's going to spread fear and everything. But and she's got the fear gas too. But Sable kicks her in the face. She sprays herself with her gas, and then as a result of the fear gas working, she sees her body deteriorating and falling apart and turning into a monster. Breaks the mirror with her head, bleeds all over the place. Well, she obviously ain't dead yet, but she's going to stagger. And she's gonna launch the missiles, and she's blind, but she's blinded by all the blood, and she can't see straight. She can't see that there's
self-destruct.
Launch. Yeah. So the self-destruct button is right by the launch button. I think that's a design flaw. Maybe not. Maybe not as bad as a design flaw as a huge planet-sized space station having a small porthole that if you shoot a missile through it, that it'll blow the whole planet-sized space station up. Maybe not that much of a design flaw.
Anyway, we got to get the hell out of this castle, JR.
But I would say that. But I don't have a time limit. But I would say that. That's a definite design flaw to have the self-destruct button next to the launch button. So anyway, she presses self-destruct. Everybody bails out, but Spider-Man, says, "Oh, I gotta save her because I'm such a good superhero and I love life and I love people and nobody deserves to die." And why is anyway? So he decides he's going to save Zola, but Zola, when you're nuts, evil, and psychopathic. So Spider-Man swings out.
I'm getting the hell out of here.
The castle blows up. Next page, he's in bed with Mary Jane, and they have sex.
Hold on. Okay, there we go.
Well, you want me to hurry? I'm hurrying up.
No, I'm slow. Well, slow down on the sex scenes. Take your time. Okay. Anyway,
all right.
He's in his tidy whities. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's in his underwear, and so he and Mary, he's in his underwear, all right. And so he and Mary Jane are gonna get down. Sure, we could keep our story going, because Brad certainly would like to see where it goes next. He might learn, thinks it'll teach him something. But even a superhero deserves some privacy. So just like the playful Parkers, let's call it a night. Enough said. And that, boys and girls, is by request. By request, Fear
Spider-Man
itself.
Oh. Cameos by Stegron, Mindworm, Nazis, trans.
Not just any Nazis, post-apocalyptic.
Post-apocalyptic
trans
transforming. Nazis. What a story!
But you know that
followed by sex, maybe an invert.
It's
all right.
Funny. I was joking about the trans, but it's just funny when how often you go to these old stories and you see something that is like, oh yeah, I'm not so sure they could do that these days.
Oh hell no,
it's just
these days. That Red Skull Hitler episode of Amazing Friends. You can't download that thing anywhere. Like it's some of the stuff they would not touch today.
Which doesn't. Which I don't understand that, because he's the bad guy and he's obviously the bad guy. It's like pretending that the Nazis didn't exist is not going to make the world safer. But anyway.
So what's your grade on this?
Yeah, it's a C. It's you sit there, you read it. It's not memorable in the slightest, really. It's not. But it's not.
Hindsight now is.
Well, but it's not offensively bad or anything. It's just, I've never really been a big fan of Silver Sable. I don't understand the appeal. I don't understand, but it is what it is. And
when I read this in 1992, I thought it was cool in the fact that one of my favorite 70s artists came back for one more go around. And to see him do modern stuff like Silver Sable, who was popular at the time, to see him do the black suit, I thought was cool. But it was kind of sad to see one of my heroes, his skills had diminished a bit. I mean, he passed away a year after this.
Yeah.
But
well, that's that a fate awaits us all, unfortunately.
It does.
It is. It's you know, again, watching old actors pass away and old ball players and old comic book writers and artists.
This one is available on Marvel Unlimited. If you got a subscription, you can go read it today. It's up there. If you want to ask JR and I a couple questions, I give it a C also. I don't think I said my grade, but I would give it a C also. It's an average, really trippy, weird story. So JR and I will take a few questions before we wrap it up for the night. If you got something, JR, what's coming up in Spider history this year?
Well, I tell you what, I ain't got it planned out very well because, but like I said, it was, because I remember when last October you said, "Hey, JR, let's do 3 Spider histories." I said, "I don't want to do any more Spider history for the year. I'm tired." But when we return, I don't have anything after the June. I haven't. And actually, maybe this is a time to take suggestions.
All right, we'll take suggestions
for the last 6 months of the year, but for the next time, in celebration of its 40th anniversary, and the fact that Brad and George, who I strongly suspect George will be invited to join these particular podcasts, for April through June, we are going. At least the plan is for April through June, the 3 months we'll do Secret Wars. The way I figure it, 4 issues, kind of like we did Maximum Carnage a few years ago. I think we did basically about 3 or 4 issues a month, and then got through it in 3 months. So I don't know. I mean, I'll slam it later. So I don't know if there's enough story to make it 3 months, but I'm sure
we can.
I'm sure that George and Brett. Well, George will probably talk about at least a half an hour about Wolverine, Spider-Man kicking the.
And then I'll do the other half an hour, and you'll get a couple words in.
And then I'll spend a half hour talking about the turd that comes out of the turd dispenser, and jumps on Spider-Man. But
yes. So
but anyway, April through June. The next time we record a Spider history, it will be Secret Wars, wall-to-wall Secret Wars.
1 to 12 for the next 3 months: April, May, June. If you notice this year, JR, they're reprinting each. They do the facsimile editions. They're doing all 12 issues this year of Secret Wars. Have you read? Well, no, of course you didn't, because you hate Secret Wars. I was asking if you read the Tom DeFalco and Pat Olaf mini. Which is
I have not been to a comic book store in months. I really haven't.
Wow.
That's how hairy.
We have a new Patreon member, Comet. And he's an old one that came back. And last night you talked about your thoughts on Ultimate Spider-Man, right?
I think I did. I don't think I did during the show, but like people asked me, and I think I answered in the. I said that really I'm giving it an incomplete, which George would call me a coward. I mean, it was interesting, but it's set up.
I knew you said it on the show last night.
Yeah, I'm really tired. I'm withholding judgment. It's interesting. I'm curious to see where I'll go, but that was like 40 pages of setup. Let's see Spider-Man, and see what he does. So, and let's find out who this Green Goblin is.
I for incomplete. Yep. Let's see. Question to JR from Andre: does Spider-Man work in original graphic novels? I think so. It's just a longer page count.
Yeah, there's no reason it shouldn't work. I'm trying to think, though, if there are really good graphic novels.
Parallel Lives?
Parallel Lives is probably the best that I can think of right now.
Another Gerry Conway, Alex Savick.
Superman versus Spider-Man would probably be considered a modern. I mean, for its time, it would have been considered a graphic. It's like any other comic. It depends on the writer and the artist and the story.
They tried to bring back the original graphic novel. It's not a reprint. And it was, I think, called Family Business by Mark Waid, and introduced Teresa Parker, his sister.
Yeah, I have read that one. The Kingpin's in that as well.
That had to have been at least 10 years ago. And they haven't done it since, I don't think. I don't think the cost and how many people buy it, the ratio works. But
Well, and so often it's like, I don't know, they don't really seem to easily fit into, I don't know. I just, even family bit, the idea of introducing a sister is, but Spencer was going somewhere with it until his run was interrupted. So,
I was just going to have a thought.
oh,
well, we have a request. I want to see the 12-parter for Marvel Knights on Spider history. Even though it's been covered on Spidey Kicks, but there's 3 months. You could do
that's not a
July,
bad idea.
August, September. There's 3 months there, JR.
That's not a bad idea.
There you go. Write it down.
Because it really is a, I talked about it on Spidey Kicks Butt, but that's an old article, and that's just me talking. We don't. One of the things I like about talking about these stories is that is even though Brad and George are very obnoxious people, it is, and Brad has a propensity toward bad jokes. Hey, we're Spider-Man fans, we're comic book fans. We love to talk about these stories amongst each other. So that's a good one. I'll consider it.
Peter Palmer has requested some Dark Avengers with Norman. How many issues would that be? That's got to be at least a dozen.
It was 15 issues.
But if you just focused on the Norman parts, that'd be fun.
Maybe someday. I was about to say I'm 60 years old. I don't have too many some days left. It's like, no, I'm not trying to be morbid. It's just when you think about it, it's like, oh yeah, I'll do that in a year or 2 years or whatever. And it's like, oh, wait a minute.
Better do it now, baby.
There's fewer in front than there were behind.
Says the guy who next month is going to turn 49. The following, I'm going to turn 50, JR, in 2025.
Well, I ain't feeling sorry. Yeah. Let me get out my violin and start playing it.
Here is a question from Gary in the Frozen. It says, do you enjoy doing Spider history because it gives you a break from real life? It sure does me.
Oh, I enjoy doing Spider history.
We wouldn't do this if we didn't enjoy it. I mean,
no.
I've been on the phone with my friend for 3.5 hours now.
The only thing is I unfortunately, like I'm very I try to research these. I mean, I try to, I try not to go into these cold, and I never give myself enough time. And then we wind up with, actually, this one didn't go too bad. Fear Itself, actually, I guess, because I'd read the story, but there are sometimes I'm not prepared and I just do a terrible job and I hate it. But no, it's fun. I mean, and the thing is, part of the fun is, like I said, by letting other people come up with suggestions, I just don't cover the stories that I like. I cover stories I wouldn't normally cover or normally read. Art Attacks is one that's been mentioned before. Fear Itself, obviously I wouldn't have, and sometimes, like I said, I mean, some of these stories are old and it's fine to pull out things that, well, here we go. The death of Gene DeWolf, the accidental origin, part of the accidental origin of Venom, the Emil Greco story, Peter David, that he had no idea that was going to be plucked by another writer and used in the creation of one of Spidey's A-list villains. So
Adam is requesting the other graphic novel we were talking about on this episode, Spirit of the Earth by Charles Vess.
I would like to do Spirit of the Earth and Hooky.
Those are, if memory serves,
I want to do Hooky. I have never read Hooky, but I have seen parts of it, and it looks like an asset.
I'm not sure I've read Hooky either. I own it. I have read Spirits of the Earth, but it's been 30 years. I think Mary Jane and him go to Scotland.
They go to Scotland. I think. Yeah. I don't know if she's inherited a castle like Aunt May inherited an island in Canada with a nuclear reactor.
Who do they fight on and then a ghost or something?
Yeah, it's not a traditional. It's not a traditional Spider-Man story, but it's a story that centers around Peter and Mary Jane and their relationship. Yeah. And since all of us are fans of that relationship, regardless of the shit that Marvel shovels us, it's
almost like another honeymoon because they're really just married around that time too.
That's I originally wanted like Fear Itself to be doubled off with Spirits of the Earth or Hooky. So anyway, maybe I'll make some time and I'll do that.
And that one came out.
I think it's a very slim it's a hardback, but I think it's very slim. It's probably
Slim.
not very long.
I have it on my shelf next to that Punisher original graphic novel, Return to Big Nothing. That I remember that one too. Let's see. Where does Ross Andru stand on the artist scale for you, JR? Says Andre.
He's one of my favorites. It's hard to. I mean, it's depending on when you talk to me is when I have favorites. I like Mike Deodato's stuff. I just love the fact that he uses real people as his. But Ross Andru is always been a favorite and has always been special. Like I've said before, because he was my first artist. The Peter Parker that I see in my head is Ross Andru's Peter Parker.
The very first Amazing comic I got was in a 3-bag deal, and it had ASM 178 with Bart Hamilton. And it's Spider-Man above falling or something like that with the goblin hitting him. And that was Ross Andru, I think. So I think he is also my very first exposure to Spider-Man.
Yeah. I mean, I started, I had picked up issues here and there, but I didn't really start buying Spider-Man comics, collecting them until issue number 134. And Ross Andru was firmly ensconced as the artist. And like I said, even today in my head, Peter Parker is his Peter Parker. And when Spectacular came out, and I forget who the artist was, and I said, that's not Peter Parker. And it looks nothing like Peter Parker.
Peter Parker doesn't look like yours.
And again, this is put the story in its proper context. There's only one Spider-Man title, and I think didn't Ross probably draw Marvel Team Up as well, or some issues of Marvel Team?
Possibly,
Peter Parker seldom ever appeared in the early issues of Marvel Team Up. So, but yeah, he's up there. He's one of my favorites. I think he's underappreciated. I think guys like McFarlane, he's somebody who gets upstaged by the superstars,
Andre says that Alex Ross claims Andru to be a huge influence on him. So yeah. He also died in 93 pre-internet. So
that's nice probably if he had lived longer or whatever, maybe, people would have started, people like, I don't know, some certain guy in Missouri, might have plucked it. Well, actually you would have, Brad, to be honest. If we were all doing this back in the 80s and 90s, you would have interviewed Ross Andru.
Oh, absolutely. I would have loved to interview him. Yeah. I'm sad that I didn't jump on it earlier. I was in contact with Denny O'Neil because I knew you hate Denny O'Neil. And I got an email back from his people, and I've always wanted to hear what his story is about Spider-Man, but he passed away like a month before I got the rejection email for him to be on the show.
Hate is too strong a word. I guess
not hate. I agree. Yeah. Hate is too strong.
I did. When you're a kid or whatever, and your life is all, I hate this guy.
But I wanted to find out so much about his
after reading Jim Shooter's blog when that was a great blog. I wish he'd kept it going. But I pretty well believe that he didn't write a lot of those stories anyway. That's one reason they were so bad, is because he farmed them out to amateurs, because and he was honest himself. He had serious.
Shooter said that in his blog, right?
Yeah, he had serious. Well, Shooter said that Denny O'Neil, when he hacked badly, and I don't know if it was Shooter or somebody else, but I know maybe it was Shooter that was alluded to the fact that he farmed the work out. But I think he was I think he was just given a job. He didn't like Spider-Man. He was not a Spider-Man fan. He was a Batman fan. He didn't like the character. I think somebody just gave him a job as a favor while he cleaned his act up, because he was gone after a month. I mean, not after a month, after about 12 a year, he was gone, and then replaced by Roger Stern. So there's probably a lot more. It's just the fact that, Marv Wolfman's run was superlative. He had all these subplots going. And then when Denny O'Neil came in, he trashed every single one of them.
But he gave us Pinky.
And he gave us Madam Web. He gave us Madam Web.
He gave us Madam Web. Oh, it all comes back. So. How about we just torture JR and have him do the other? That'll
we have done the other. I mean, we haven't. Yeah, we've not done it on Spider History, but we have done it in the reviews. Right. And because I remember, we've definitely done it on the reviews, because it was like we went through, like I was just saying, issue 1, Peter's dying, but we don't know of what. Issue 2, he's dying, but we don't know of what. And it's like, and then we never find out what he's really dying of. Yeah. It was, and then I mean the talking spider at the end, and somebody described it, and this is the best description I had of it. Somebody described it. One of our listeners, I think, said he thought the story started out interesting, but then disappeared up its own ass. And that is probably
now that's a quote, boy.
That's probably a fairly good, because it was just bizarre and ultimately went nowhere. I don't know if the thing is, I don't know if Straczynski, if Civil War hadn't happened, and then and then obviously the One More Day, if he wouldn't have taken these stories out. But
Peter Palmer asking about the final chapter. Have we ever done that? That was where we ended. That was where we ended.
Not in Spider History, no. In fact, no, and we haven't reviewed it. Oh, wait a minute. No, I think we might have.
We didn't, because that came out in '98, and
we did.
Started in 2006.
I'd have to look at it. I'm pretty sure we did Gathering of the Five, and we would have done Final Chapter as well. Okay, we might have done it. I think I keep a list of.
I thought you were talking about if we did it on the normal review show.
But no, he's asking if it's done in a new proper Spider History format. We wouldn't have done it on the review show, because you didn't start the review show until Civil War. I think we've done it, but I'd have to check.
Eric loves your pop culture references and life at the time of the releases. Always fun.
Well, thank you. So, yeah to you, Brad.
Who do you prefer writing, Spidey, Stern or David? Roger Stern or Peter David? That's a tough one.
That's like I was about to say, I was going to mention a couple actresses, and I was going to say that's like kicking one of them out of bed. But I was trying. I don't know. I don't want to give away who, but anyway, honestly,
we want to know who.
Yeah,
who,
it's like either
who's your
one
celebrity crush, JR, of your
if either actresses. One of them came back. I think, in my opinion, I think Peter David is the better all-around writer, because I think he has written. I mean, like I said, his Star Trek comics are the best Star Trek comics that were written. I mean, they are. He wrote some great stuff, and there are stories I wish had been done as TV episodes, because they were so good. And there's one really good scene where the trial of Captain Kirk, where Saavik asked Spock, what it's like to have friends. How does he define friends? And Spock tells him, he says, a friend is someone you are pleased to see when you wish to see no one. A friend is someone who to you pledge your honor, you pledge your loyalty, not because it's required, but because it pleases you to give it. And a friend is someone who calls you a pointy-eared hobgoblin, yet you trust him with your soul. So that's just great stuff. Either writer, I would probably say Peter David's probably the better all-around writer. But you got to throw Bill Mantlo in there too. I mean, when I was in college, Bill Mantlo's spectacular stuff was really good as well.
It was. All the Owl Octopus Wars specifically.
Yep.
Hornacek is saying the Assassin's Nation plot. Got some great Todd McFarlane art in there. I don't think we've done that one. That's got Silver Sable in it.
We have done Assassination Plot.
Have we? Okay.
We have not done Round Robin, the Sidekick's Revenge. We have done Assassination.
That one has been recently reprinted in the Moon Knight, the Mark Spector Moon Knight trades that are coming out.
That is that's a good suggestion.
And that one had Darkhawk, Spider-Man, Punisher. Who else is in there? Deathlock, maybe.
But I think we've done, because it was a 6-parter. It was just, and then I think the story changed about halfway through. It became a completely different story. Captain America was in it, but Round Robin is the name I always bring up when I want to talk about what I feel was wrong with the 90s was
Yeah, it started selling. The Amazing Book went twice a month during the summer, and every summer they had to have a lot of content. And now Amazing Spider-Man comes out twice a month now too.
But
So
it was all the same stuff. It was just like, throw in all kinds of people, make it loud, there's a lot of high-tech weapons and a lot of
team
blowing
ups.
up. I mean, and all the villains are the same. Like, I brought up, like the jury and the wild.
Who was the round robin villain?
I don't know. That's why it's a good suggestion, because I haven't read that.
Maybe it was Moon Knight's somebody to do with Moon Knight. Come think of it.
But they were just loud, obnoxious stories. I mean, they were terrible, and there were so many of them. So
I think we may have done this one, Acts of Vengeance. Have we done Acts of Vengeance?
We've done some of them. I think we did the ones where
we did it as Cosmic Spidey, though. I think.
Yeah.
Because I remember the Hulk punching Spidey into orbit. I mean, Spidey punching the Hulk into orbit.
Yeah,
I don't know if we've done it as where we have visuals for YouTube.
Yeah, I know the one where the Hulk went into orbit, we definitely did that one. And I know that we did Pursuit, but Pursuit is one of those that I did very poorly. But I'm not really anxious to go back to it right now.
Adam suggests the Evil That Men Do, the Black Cat miniseries by
Kevin
Smith.
Well,
come on, brother.
Oh,
got some good
men,
that'd be a fun one to do. That'd be a fun one to do.
People are cruel. Evil, but that's
it's like the Evil That Men Do.
That's not a bad, because it's a 6-issue one, but I know we can get through it in an hour.
And do 6 in an hour, you think?
Well, we can do 6 issues. We can do that one, because although it's almost two entirely different stories.
And the longtime fans may not remember, there was like a year, maybe two,
there was
between
more
issues
than a year.
4 to 5. Kevin Smith took a couple year break in between.
Yeah, he did like the first 3 issues left on a huge cliffhanger.
What was the cliffhanger?
The cliffhanger was that the villain was apparently about to rape the Black Cat.
Oh, that's right.
He was but we had problems with the story, because the Black Cat was able to knock Spidey senseless and use his web shooters to web himself to the roof. And it's like, no. But anyway, there was that massive cliffhanger. And then 2 or 3 years later, you find out it didn't happen. And then the story goes off on a weird, like the history of mutants tangent. So, that'd
be a good one, JR.
But we might do that one.
I think we've done the Razorback.
I think we've done Razorback too.
We've done that one before. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm sure. Well, JR shoots them. The ones JR shoots down is the one that JR thinks he's done before. I wish I had my matrix. Is this? No, that's not it. That's actually work. I keep a matrix of the stories we've done so that we don't repeat them. And I'm not averse to going back. We have, for example, Gene DeWolf, we've done before. When we were just doing the months, and sometimes I would say, well, here's the story of the month, but here's what the larger story was.
But that was pre-video too.
Yeah, but we've done that, but I'd have to see how long ago.
The original Carrion story by Mantlo.
I think we've done that too.
Okay. You need to go in depth about robot parents, says Brian Taylor. The Spider parents.
I'd have to go back and see what we did with Pursuit, because I think we did some of that, but like I said, I did it very poorly. But I don't know that I'm ready to revisit it yet. But definitely Spirits of the Earth. And like I said, I would probably team that up with Hooky if I could. Ryan Robin's sidekick, definitely. Evil at Mendu is people are terrible. You were previously giving me classic stories, and now you're throwing these dogs at me.
We love crap. We love hearing you talking crap. Yeah. Matt suggests the sequel, The Sin Eater Returns.
We've done that. We've done that
one.
Yeah.
How would you compare?
See, I'm sorry. I want to go back. See, I mean, and again, we've done Spider history. I mean, we've been doing the podcast for almost, what'd you start, 2006 or something?
2006. It'll be 20 years old, JR, in 2 years.
And, we started doing Spider history like with number 59, but it was, like I said, very short. And then it developed as it went on. But
now we're broadcasting it.
Yeah, but we've been doing these for a long time. So we have covered a lot of these stories before. So,
one thing that we don't do very often, if the podcast is going to be 20 years old, we don't go back generally to the stuff that we reviewed it when it first came out. For instance, like Back in Black and stuff like that. So there'll come a point where we're going to get full circle and we're going to go back to review things again.
well, no, I know. I mean, there are, there are hundreds of Spider-Man stories out there.
No need to repeat what we've already reviewed when it first came out.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, for example, when people would ask me what, my criteria for picking it. Well, one, I used to let Brad pick them. Brad would give me a month and he would give me alternatives.
I like that you pick them now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like that Brad picked them earlier because that made me look at stories I hadn't necessarily read before, because there were a lot of stories like in Spectacular and Web and, the period where I wasn't buying comics anymore, and I went back and bought these, but I didn't read them. And
it's
then
now Spider History is more like a trade paperback, honestly.
Yeah. And then we did that month, and I'll still do a month by month, maybe depending on the month. But then, like, I think we started doing with I think what started was Craven's Last Hunt, because it was 2 months, because the story crossed in all the titles, it could all be done like in a month or two. Yeah. So we've been doing story arcs since then, but that doesn't mean that we won't pick months every now and then. But we have covered quite a bit of territory.
Peter Palmer, how would you guys compare and contrast Peter's friendship with Human Torch and Daredevil? We kind of talked about that on the last episode.
We kind of talked about, basically, I mean, in my opinion, is that the Torch is his buddy, and Daredevil is his comrade, or his work
buddy.
Yeah. Well, for example, in fact, I was thinking, like, for example, I was thinking Captain. I was going to do a Star Trek analogy, but people are tired of Star Trek analogy, so I'll do another comic.
No, we're not.
like Captain America. Who's his best friend, Bucky or Sam? Well, they're both his best friend because they're both different kinds of best friends. Bucky, the way I saw Bucky, I saw as his pal, his buddy from his childhood. Blah blah blah, and Sam is his comrade in arms. The guy is like, because when, Cap says he's going to go looking for Bucky and, but you don't have to go. And Sam says, yeah, I know. So when are we leaving? I mean, so, you got your pal and you got your comrade in arms. And I think Daredevil is, I wouldn't say he's their comrade in arms, but I think, they have a healthy respect for each other, but they are different. There's an age difference, whereas Spidey and the Torch are the same age. There's an age difference. Murdoch has with his being a lawyer all these years, he has a certain, structural view of the law and how it works. Whereas, Spider-Man has a much more emotional approach to it. So different dynamics, and but I do wish that they had never mind wiped Daredevil.
I have another request for the Carrion story and spec.
I think we've done
it. Tommy says we should do Spider-Man's Tiny Adventures, which was in the annuals, if for no other reason than to hear JR talk about shrinkage for an hour. That'd be a fun one. It was a dumb little story in the annuals.
First of all, let me check. Let's see here. Tiny Adventures. Yeah, I remember one of those because basically it was one of those where Spidey got shrunk and Mary Jane takes Spider-Man to Harry Osborn, and it's like, so if it's like if Harry did, and I think Harry knew at the time, but he hadn't told Peter because he remembered in Web, but it was like, well, just go ahead and tell Harry that it's Peter, Mary Jane. I mean, why are you bringing, if he hadn't figured it out by then, he figured it out, during that adventure. But Tiny Adventures. But yeah, I've seen
that's pretty fun.
Carrion. I'll think about it, but I think we've done Carrion. Yeah.
We have a request for the Dan Slott Human Torch Spider-Man mini. That'd be a good one.
Good one.
Hornacek says, JR, do Evil Men do for 2 episodes? Do it for 2 episodes, release the first one, then wait 2 years, release the second episode.
Hornacek, you're funny. You're just always bringing the funny. I don't know why Brad didn't have you do the spider crooks and spider morons like he makes me do, because he always wants me to bring the funny. So
have we done the
Hornacek, you're
master
bringing the
planner?
funny.
Master planner from Ditko. That's pretty good.
I tell you, because I was about to say what my criteria for picking stories was, and then I got on a tangent. Strange, isn't it? But I usually didn't do anything before Spider-Man, before Amazing 100. We did do Amazing 100, and we actually did go back and do an older one because it was the same month as Spectacular, the original Spectacular 2, which is one of my favorite Green Goblin stories. But I didn't do I never did Lee Ditko or a lot of the Lee Romita, because I always felt those were just covered. Everybody's reviewed those. Everybody's talked about those. Everybody's written about those, and I didn't know if I could bring a different perspective to them, and then my cutoff point was like when Brad invited me on the show for the first time during Civil War, and then I never left.
Did I?
Yeah, because I kind of like, why cover inspired history, what we covered on a review show? But the thing is, the further away we're getting from some of those old original review shows. But then again, I mean, what more could I say about how awful One More Day was? I mean, that's one reason I actually stopped writing and got tired of writing, beyond other personal reasons, because it was like, who wants to just write, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this over and over again. Yeah. So. But anyway, it could happen, but I'm still not inclined to do any of the original Lee Ditko, Lee Romito stories.
Superior Foes? I don't think you like that one, do you?
Are you talking about the Spencer's Superior Foes, or are you talking about some of the minis?
The Superior Foe mini. No, or was it 12 issues?
We've done some of the Superior. We've done that because I remember we did one where it was where Stegron kind of showed up in the middle of it or something, because they were zapping, and then Vincent Stegron, and then I did an impersonation.
No, we've not done that one, I don't think. No, I thought he was talking about Spencer, but you're talking about Danny Fingerross Superior Foes.
Yeah.
Eric, that's like 8 issues. He did 2 minis, right?
Which Superior Foes are you talking about, Eric? Yeah. I mean, so
the night when Stacy died, I remember that one.
Again, I've not done that one because
we have.
No, I don't think we have. I'd have to check, but I've deliberately avoided that one, again, based on what could I possibly add or say that hasn't been. I mean, that's why when you guys throw some of these obscure ones at me, it's like, yeah. And even Marvel Knights Spider-Man, even though I like the idea because I was very fond of that miniseries, even though it had a lot of problems. And in fact, we even Jonathan from Thwip, he did Marvel Knights, and I got to do Norman and the Goblin for the Marvel Knights, and I had a great time doing it. Norman has got a lot of great lines. It was like the difference between us is I don't give a rat's ass.
Here, I'm going to go through these really quick because I want to wrap this up. I think we're hitting the end. We've got Inferno, just the Spider-Man issue is a suggestion. Adam says sometimes just picking a random month is an interesting grab bag.
And it worked.
Spidey's Totally Tiny Adventures. That's what it was called.
Yeah, Totally Tiny.
Claremont and Byrne Spidey Stories and Marvel Team Up. That's like maybe 10 issues.
That's almost covering too much material. Yeah. If there are some specific ones that stand out, that maybe. The
story where Spidey forms the Outlaws of Spider-Man, Sandman, Puma, Prowler, and Rocket Racer, and fights the Avengers. That's in Web 50, I think.
I definitely remember. We haven't done it, but I definitely remember talking about it in one of my articles. It was team member or team player.
Harry in the Frozen says you should cover the classics because your perspective is better than most.
Well, Gary in the Frozen, thank you very much. I mean, I don't know how much of that. I need to check my ass to see how much smoke is going up it.
It's a lot.
But I imagine there's at least some sincerity to it. But I appreciate that. But again, there's stories that have just been talked about so often, and it's like I just. Just kind of want to find stuff that hasn't been talked about as often.
Our last suggestion is from Tommy, a potpourri of Spider-Man what ifs.
Good idea. Definitely good idea.
Peter Palmer says, what if Uncle Ben lived from the 70s,
now,
I believe.
I think we've had months where we talked about those, so I'd have to check because we might have done them. But there are two great ones, written by the same guy, Peter Gillis. One of them was "What If Uncle Ben Had Lived," which is a very good. It's a very good story because it's not a gimmick story, which is about oh, let's kill the superheroes. Yeah, that's fun.
And who penciled it?
I don't remember.
A friend of the show,
Sal Buscema.
Ron Friends penciled that one.
That's right, he did.
Love that one.
And the "What If Spider-Man Had Not Become a Crime Fighter," where he did stop the burglar. Again, I'd have to.
There's also "What If the Clone Lived."
Yeah,
that's
not that's not a bad idea. That's not.
I like that. Idea. About 3 issues of "What If" from the original Volume 1 issue.
Yeah,
you got the clone one. You got the. He also went into Hollywood.
That was the one where if he hadn't become a crime fighter.
That's it. And then you got the "What If Uncle Ben Didn't Die." That's 3 issues. That'd be a good show.
Yeah. And
all right.
And also, I'm sorry. Also, one of my favorites is actually from one of the later "What Ifs." If the new Fantastic.
What if Spidey joined the FF?
That's right. That's right.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
But no, that's a great idea. The "What Ifs" are. We could do a quarter of "What If" stories because there are some good ones, but unfortunately there are a lot of that are just garbage. So
yeah, that's true. All right, final thoughts, JR. What are your thoughts?
Everybody, I had a good time with my old pal Brad. I enjoyed talking about these stories and sharing them with you. I thank you for your comments and your suggestions. Yeah, maybe we'll do this again in April
with some Secret Wars, baby. We're coming back,
and we'll have George. That we should have George with us.
Yeah,
so that should be that should be fun.
All right, thanks for watching, everybody.